You are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So it's Lakshmi something day today. Some god's birthday, I think it is. The god Lakshmi. I'm not too sure which one she is. I think she may have been banging Shiva or something like that. I'm not too sure. I probably should have looked into it. I don't want to piss off the gods here any more than I already have. So I'm not really sure what the holiday's about, but they dressed up a coconut and gave it a bunch of fruit. They dressed it up in a sari, they put a fucking silver face on it and gave it heaps of fruit. Very tasty looking fruit I wasn't allowed to eat. I tried to, I just wanted a fucking banana. Lakshmi had like 30 bananas, 12 custard apples, fucking a shitload of pomegranates, and I wasn't allowed to eat any of them. And I usually steal fruit off the gods as well. That's why I don't want to piss off the gods any more than I already do. So in India, every house has a god room. They have an area or a whole fucking room in the house where a god is set up. Whatever god a particular family favors or your caste favors, I don't know how it works, but there's different gods in different houses. So every morning, my wife's mum goes and prays to the god, lights some incense, lights some candles, and gives the god some fruit. That's at like 6 a.m. Then like 7 hours later, the boy owl stumbles downstairs after a shit night's sleep and is a little bit hungry. He's feeling a little bit peckish and he feels like a little bit of that natural sugar. And he looks in the fruit bowl and all he sees is a rotten fucking orange and a dodgy looking apple. And then he wanders over to the god's room and sees that the god of the house has a stash of bananas going up almost to the roof, pomegranates, custard apples, the works. And then he's like, there is no way this god is going to eat all that fruit. When is this god going to find time to eat all this fruit? When does this god eat the fruit, actually? When does it turn from a stone statue into a god and eat all this fruit? So I'm like, well, the god's not going to miss a couple of bananas and a custard apple, is he? And maybe a pomegranate and a mango. Will the god know I've taken it? I know the family knows. The family definitely knows. The family knows I'm stealing fruit from the gods. But does the god know? I hope not. Although I do say every time I steal some fruit, I'm like, hey, just put this on my tab. I owe you a couple of bananas. I won't forget it. This is on tick. Just tick me a couple of bananas. Like, it's not fully stealing from the god. Like, I'm definitely going to pay back eventually. Imagine in the afterlife that was actually the worst thing I ever did in this life, was steal the fruit offering off the gods. Every banana I took cost me a millennia in hell. I am a little bit nervous about that. I'll definitely pay back the fruit sometime, at some point. So yeah, that was today. And I'm heading out to the tattoo studio for my first gig in Bangalore in a couple of hours. I don't even know if it's going to be on, but I'm heading out there anyway because I am a very sad human being and I desperately need to share my unprepared jokes in a tattoo studio to people that are not interested in anything other than getting a tattoo. Anyway, no point getting depressed about that because it is Friday. It's time for Fucked Up Friday. You all know what Fucked Up Friday is. Fucked Up Friday is when the listeners have stayed sober long enough to type out one of their fucked up stories and send it to me, and I read it out, and we all get to laugh and rejoice together. So if you would like to send in a Fucked Up Friday story, just hit me up on social media. I'm Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or... and this is the better way to do it. Just email me on boylecomedy@gmail.com. It's much better to send it in that way because I can keep fucking track of it a lot easier. Or an even better way to get your Fucked Up Friday story in is to join the Patreon for as little as 1 pint a month. 1 measly pint a month. You can prevent 2 half-caste Indian children from starving and prevent 1 white man from stealing the fruit from the god and eternal damnation. For as little as a pint a month, you can save my soul. And you can send in your Fucked Up Friday story and get a little bit of a fucking express pass, as long as your story's still good. Don't send me in a trash story and expect it to get read out. Hold on to your $8. The story still has to be good. Anyway, join the Patreon. The links are in my social media bios, or just message me directly and I'll send you the link myself. Anyway, let's move right along to this week's Fucked Up Friday. So this week's Fucked Up Friday was sent in by Joe all the way out there in Ireland. So let's get stuck straight in. It was 2018, I think. I was over visiting in a big East Coast city in the US. Usual modus operandi, go out with all the work colleagues to a fancy restaurant, talk shop and shit, then tell them I'm jet lagged and I'm going back to the hotel, then snake off to a strip club or somewhere unsavory for an adventure. That's the way you do it. You get rid of the fucking deadwood. You get rid of any witnesses and you just fly solo. Anyone who's a drinker knows all you need is to drink. You'll make fucking friends on the way. It's just a matter of time. But if you've got colleagues, that's trouble. Get rid of them early. Well played. He's an Irishman. He knows what he's fucking doing. Went to my favorite sleazy downtown strip club at 9 p.m. after the early dinner. You gotta love the US and the Aussie attitude. Relatively normal to go down to the strip club. So having a few drinks, tipping the girls, a few lap dances, and the shot girl comes in. So those who don't know the stripper hierarchy, at the top is the bar woman. The queen bee's running the place with an iron fist, going from friendly to sneering in a split second depending on your tips or whether you've had enough. Next to the dancers of varying seniority, depending if they're resident or out-of-towners. Finally, it's the shot girl. So she walks around with test tubes of fluorescent liquids and will do a quick dance and pour a shot down your neck. Sometimes they can graduate to being dancers, but often not. I didn't know any of this. This is very informative. So this shot girl seems like a real simple girl, not very bright, and I feel bad for her. Usual story, most strippers are single mums working 2 to 3 jobs. That's capitalism US style. So I end up doing 3 of these shots. I start getting dizzy and head off back to the hotel after declining a 300 quid option from her to bring her back with me. Good move. That's a lot of fluorescent shots. As I walk back past many of the African American homeless folks, as I'm Irish, I always feel invincible in foreign cities, as often my accent and stories of solidarity with oppressed peoples disarms those who might mean to harm me. This is the Irish version of white privilege. One unfortunate called Kevin is sitting under a Versace shop smoking crack from a ballpoint pen and drinking a bottle of rum with optics still in. I sit down with him under his blanket and share the rum and try to smoke the crack, but all I taste is plastic. We chat for a while. I offer to give him money to buy some more crack. So he goes to a payphone to ring his dealer and we start to argue as he can't get through. This is really a moving tale. He moves instead to asking me did I want to fuck his missus for money. And I got angry with him for even suggesting it. We end up roaring at each other and I head off back to the hotel alone. You are just dodging STDs everywhere here at the moment. On the way back through a park-like square, I got so tired and I decide to have a little lie down on a bench. Next thing I remember is waking up in a bright corridor on a bed with a banana bag. Those yellow IV bags given to alcoholics with vitamins and nutrients in there. A stern African-American orderly is sitting beside me and a white doctor who looked exactly like Dr. Green from ER, the TV show, was talking to me. ER? Bros, you are showing your fucking age here. ER, what kind of fucking reference is that? Chicago Hope. That was also on at the same time. So the guy who looked like the guy from fucking ER was pleading with me to tell him what drugs I was on. I explained I had just had a few glasses of wine with dinner and was jet lagged. It was 5 a.m. I was presenting at the meeting in some skyscraper at 9 a.m. I pleaded with him to let me go. All I could think of was losing my job and my whole corporate cunt, affable family man facade crashing down when everyone found out what a degenerate I was. I tried to get up and the orderly pushed me down and said if I tried that again, he would restrain me. Eventually, Dr. Green came back and said my bloods were clear from drugs and alcohol level wasn't as dangerously high, but they couldn't let me go still unless I had cash to pay for the cab out. I opened my wallet and there was 20 quid. I got a taxi back to the hotel. I went into the office to all my work colleagues the next day, shook. Within a half hour, I was vomiting copious amounts of hungover type spew, and it was in those stupid American toilets that don't have full doors, so work colleagues could smell me and see me on my knees through the store. I told them I must have had a bad oyster, and one of the women said, "We will take you to hospital." No, I said, and left the meeting and went down to the same city centre park and laid on the grass with my suitcase drinking Pepto-Bismol. So that's it. Got away with it, eh? Well, about 6 months later, I was walking around the office back in Ireland and my cell phone rings. It's an Israeli debt collection agency. That is a Jew job. That is classic Jew job. And they are inquiring about a little matter of $8,000 a US hospital is owed for my visit there. In my eagerness to please, so they let me out, I must have given them my real name, address, and phone number. They say it's perfectly fine, they can just get my insurance. A quick check of my work and private medical insurance reveals alcoholic-related misadventure isn't covered. I am panicking as how can I take $8,000 of our savings without the missus finding out? Had to negotiate with this Jew. They provided all the receipts from the hospital too, so I had to take it seriously. Eventually, they relented and offered me $1,200 over 3 months instead. Clearly just a scam for insurance. Did I learn anything? Maybe. Am I better now? Well, COVID has grounded me for the moment, and to be honest, I'm much happier being a square, I think. But once those planes fly again, I don't know, baby. So he only ended up paying $1,200 of the $8,000 they asked for. I would have just said, "Hey, Jew, I'll give you 200, take it or leave it." Thanks for sending in the story, Joe. That'll do for today. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you the fuck later.